Hey guys, today I did something that I do about every 5, 6 months or so, maybe twice a year. I go to the bookstore and I fill up my books on my bookshelves of new stuff that I run out of. I read all my books and I need to buy some new ones. So I guess I kind of think of it as one of these few times that I actually get out and experience some kind of culture, which I think a lot of people go to the bookstore in Kentucky because it's not really that culture of a place. They go to pretend that they're something that they're not. They may be, I don't know these people, but it's like, you know how the Kentucky Derby, people all wear these big fancy hats and they dress up and they go to the Kentucky Derby and drink these, what are they called? I'm not a big drinker, so I don't know what these things are. Mint juleps, right. So they all act fancy when nobody really is in Kentucky, I don't think. They have all these art stores in front of the place, like, I don't know, a bunch of artsy stuff. The last time I went to the bookstore, they have like a bunch of magazines. They have like pretty much every magazine you can think of. And I end up last time in the specialty gay magazine section for some reason. Like, I guess I was looking at something artsy and then I just kind of melded into the gay section and I'm looking at something. I'm like, oh crap, I got to put this back away slowly and make no sudden movements. And on the way back from the bookstore, I went by the movie theater, cinemas, and I didn't recognize any of the movies that are playing right now. That's how out of touch I am with the whole movie industry. I've been like watching all these TV shows and reading books, being on the internet. Just don't have time for movies anymore. It's like TV, movies, books, internet. I can only have like 3 things balancing at a time. I can only juggle the 3 things, and one thing has to get kicked off to the side. So for right now, it's movies. I did recognize All the King's Men, but not as a movie. I recognize it as like a Shakespeare play, right? Is that correct? See, I am very cultured, which is kind of an odd thing for it to be considered cultured, because on the way there I was listening to the radio and that My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard song was on, which always makes me think of L'Oreal Xander because she made that video. Decided to buy some things to sort of, I don't know, I usually always buy like horror novels or some kind of fiction, crime, drama, maybe mystery thrillers type stuff. And let's see, here's one of my books, Firestorm. It's a book by Rachel Kane, which it's kind of a sequel to a big series I've been reading. I have like 5 or 6 authors that I read. There's one that's like a mother-daughter writing team, P.J. Tracy that I read, and Jim Butcher, who writes a book sort of like Harry Potter, only he's like a Chicago detective named Harry something Dresden. He's a wizard. And I buy a lot of horror novels by like Bentley Little and Edward Lee. Yeah, he writes like stories about hell and all these portals that people get into hell and all this crazy sexual killing, murder stuff going on, and it's pretty wild. But yeah, I got this book, Firestorm. And it's funny how like authors' names really make a big difference in the literary world, because you know, Dan Brown, he's like a famous author, everybody wants to be like him. There's a guy named Dale Brown that he must have gotten some kind of popularity just for having a similar name, because you get placed next to him. Like books, you don't really get a big preview of what they're about. Like movies, you have all these trailers and everything giving you information on it. But these, you just basically get a little synopsis in the back, maybe some blurbs from a magazine on the inside jacket, and you don't really have a clue if it's going to be good or not until you read it. Which isn't really fair, because authors can change their names to whatever they want, have pseudonyms. So, and since it's Halloween, I decided to get another horror novel. I got City of the Dead by Brian Keene. I've never read this guy before. Hopefully it'll be good. It says post-apocalyptic, blunt, and visceral. It's about zombies, which I'm a big fan of zombies. I was reading Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. I read all of them, but I think I like zombies better than vampires because they're basically walking targets. You can go out and fight them and kill them, and they're not really human. They're already dead, so there's nothing wrong with it. It's like you're doing a good deed by killing them. Plus, they're really slow. I just took a shower, that's why I'm doing this. Like, there's another book up, Monster Island or Monster Nation, like some more zombie books. They look really good. I wanted to get those, but I didn't want to spend that much money. Usually I'll spend maybe $100 when I go out because I wait so long before buying books. Today I only spent like 40. What I like about zombies, well, they're really weak, right? Because they were people, now they're dead, so they don't have any muscles left. It's all deteriorated. A lot of people write zombies like make them supernaturally strong or something. Like, how do they get stronger than they were when they were alive? Seems like they'd have to be less powerful. I mean, they can't die because they're already dead, but they shouldn't be super strong. It's not right. It's not fair. And again, World War Z, and the Z stands for zombies. This looked really good. It's a brand new hardback book. It's an oral history of the global war the evil brain chewers came within a hair of winning. It's like actually zombie war took place, and this guy tells the whole story. Max Brooks is the author. It looked really like just came out or something, but the lady at the cashier said that it was a fun book, like she'd already read it. Which I don't know if that's possible. How could you have read this brand new book already? Maybe she had a thing for me. Maybe she was hitting on me. So I'm going to hope that she saves my credit card information and looks up my address, cross-references it with some kind of database, and then finds my phone number and calls me. That's my move. Speaking of the, I guess she kind of looked like Paper Lilies, the cashier. If I had to say she looked like a YouTuber, I would probably go with Paper Lilies, but not really. Pretty much, if it's blonde girl, I'll say Paper Lilies, and if it's a brunette, I'll say SJP. How about that? Or Kimberly. Because I don't really pay attention to girls' faces. Speaking of which, I like the brunettes. I'm a big fan of single, independent, strong-willed brunettes that are very comfortable with their own sexuality. Yes, that's a good way of putting that. That came out pretty nice. Which leads me to this. Sophia Bush on Maxim magazine. It's fabulous. I was actually thinking about resubscribing to Maxim. I used to have a subscription, like as I said in my 911 video that I read about the Bin Laden attack in one of these Maxims. But it kind of got a little too much about the chicks and the fashion and stuff. Not really as funny as it used to be, but it looks like it's kind of getting back to where it was. I used to like it because it had a guy in there named Hiroki, who was like a Japanese art assistant. They would always eat different kinds of crazy foods and like sort of torture him a little bit because it was nasty stuff, and they would make food reports on it. I'm going to check this out. I was going to get a Wired magazine and subscribe to Wired. I couldn't find any Wired magazines. Out of all the magazines they had freaking books on knitting, woodworking, specialty gay magazines, thousands of magazines on horses because this is freaking Kentucky. They didn't have Wired though. They even have magazines on black hair, which I think is kind of racist because that's saying that black hair is different than other people's hair, which I guess it is, but making a whole magazine just based around black people's hair seems wrong. They have Black Tail magazine. I think that's a porn. Anyway, that was my day of culture. By the way, Joseph Beth Booksellers, they finally got enough subscribers on YouTube that they paid me $15,000 to make this video and have this sitting here the whole time. Sponsorship. Kind of like Mr. Safety, only more cultured. I feel sorry for anybody who believed that.